We will now look at the special needs of those incarcerated from a correctional and a healthcare standpoint. Many people don't think about the fact that the women in prison have vastly different needs than those of men. In fact, there are many changes that need to occur in order to safely and efficiently house female inmates. From a correctional standpoint, the crimes often committed by women are non-violent, ranging from property to drug-related crimes. As a result, these women are typically given shorter sentences, which requires the facility to handle higher turnover rates. From both a correctional and a healthcare standpoint, the prevalence of mental illness in female prisoners is much higher than that of men, something that is often overlooked or ignored. Because the number of women in prison has increased significantly, the number of babies in prison has also increased. This issue has only been addressed in 9 states with nursery programs of some sort. Most U.S. prisons allow newborns to stay with their mothers from 12 to 18 months, which also creates strain on the facility in both housing and special resources. Also related to the fact that women are pregnant in prison, they have to receive prenatal care during their pregnancy. This is also a popular way in which the mothers find out that they are HIV positive and pregnant, which creates an increased need for prenatal care, further increasing the financial burden on these facilities. Many of these topics and more are under constant discussion, whether it is from an ethics view or from an economic view because of the high impact they have on the lives of these female prisoners and the correctional facilities.
The Bureau of Justice Statistics estimated that by mid-year 2007, U.S. prisons held approximately 800,000 parents of minor children. This same study found that those parents reported having a total of over 1.7 million children under the age of 18, which accounts for 2.3% of the U.S. resident minor population. Unfortunately, these children are at greater risk for trauma symptomology as well as future incarceration. Living with someone who has been incarcerated is defined as an adverse childhood experience, or ACE. According to researchers and professionals, this means that parental incarceration has the potential to be traumatic and is also a potential pathway for social, emotional, and cognitive neurodevelopmental impairments. Associations have also been found between children of incarcerated parents and early antisocial behavior, which is one of the main predictors of criminal offending in adulthood. In fact, studies have found that significant association exists between parental incarceration and major health problems, including but not limited to depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and migraines.
Why is it important to study children of incarcerated mothers? Estimates in 2001 indicated that nearly 3.6 million parents were under some form of correctional supervision, with almost 1.1 million incarcerated in federal, state, and local jails. These parents had an estimated 2.3 million children. In addition to this, the rate of parental incarceration has gone up sharply from 1991 to 2001 alone, from 452,500 parents to a total of 737,400 parents. This totaled an 87% increase in incarceration of mothers. These affected children are among the most at-risk populations in the United States and are at heightened risk for attachment disturbance, leading to depression, anxiety, and other trauma-related stress. In addition to this, around 35% of women who are incarcerated are in prison for drug-related offenses. This drug abuse can lead to birth defects of the neonate. Research is also being done due to the large amount of spending towards prenatal care and support for those pregnant during their incarceration. These are just some of the reasons why we choose to research children of incarcerated mothers.
With the steady increase of women being incarcerated in the United States, it is a basic reality for women to give birth in prison and for them to become detached from their children. With this steady increase, we are also seeing medical and correctional programs for both mothers and children becoming popular. These types of programs include prison nurseries, prisoner mother programs, and visitation programs. As of now, there are 9 states that provide prison nurseries. These states include New York, Nebraska, Washington, Ohio, Indiana, South Dakota, Illinois, West Virginia, and Wyoming. These programs are only offered to female inmates who are giving birth while incarcerated, and they offer inmates to stay connected to their children for certain lengths of time instead of being immediately separated. This is a very important aspect of the program and has been shown to reduce recidivism in its participants compared to those who were separated at birth. Another program is the AIM program, which reunites mothers and children separated by prison. The program offers different activities and programs to keep the mothers and children connected. program also stresses the importance of re-entry into society and important life skills mothers need in order to be successful parents. The Community Prisoner Mother Program is a program specific to substance abusers who are mothers and nonviolent offenders. This program is based out of California, and any women who are in a female correctional facility can apply. This program provides support to pregnant or parenting mothers and their children under the age of 6 and their services to help develop important skills for being self-sufficient and to provide them with skills to be a positive asset to society.
Studies have shown that some new solutions can be created to address the problem of children of incarcerated women by following the principles that I'm about to mention. Incarcerated mothers often experience strained relationships with their children, families, communities, and society. They can benefit from strategies that reduce tension and conflict in their relationships and that help them develop positive, healthy ways of relating to one another. Children, especially older children, need support to reconcile their feelings about their mother's incarceration and to heal the loss, hurt, and confusion and possible damage that incarceration has had on them. The family should be a central focus of corrections and reentry policies and interventions because children do best when their families do well. These policies should help to facilitate healthy connections among all family members using safe and appropriate methods. Visitation and communication between the child and his or her mother can strengthen the mother-child relationship, which can result in lower recidivism. Public policies and systems should adopt a framework that reduces the many barriers to visitation and contact of the mothers while they're in prison. Children with incarcerated mothers and their caregivers need systems and supports in place that help to facilitate family stability and reduce the economic strain caused by incarceration. Incarcerated mothers and their children benefit from services provided to them before, during, and after incarceration that help them build stronger family relationships, constructively manage conflict, strengthen parenting skills, and prepare them to be responsible mothers and members of their community upon release from prison. Children with incarcerated mothers benefit from services and supports that reduce the stigma, shame, and trauma of incarceration, encourage healthy child and adolescent development, and increase their likelihood of school success. The developmental level and age of the child, prior family connections, and length of incarceration need to be taken into consideration when developing policies and programs for this child and their mothers who are in prison. The wishes and concerns of caregivers and children, along with the incarcerated mother, need to be carefully considered and balanced with the best interests of the child and the recommendations of public and private systems responsible for the care of that child prior to facilitating family connections, care, and placement of the child.
The criminal justice system often fails to develop a diversity of options for dealing with the gender and cultural specific programs for female offenders. Gender-specific services should incorporate physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, and sociopolitical issues in addressing these needs. Gender-responsive supervision and program approaches must focus on issues such as a cross-gender supervision and appropriate relationships between staff and the offender. There is also a need for gender-responsive classification tools, assessment instruments, treatment plans, and aftercare. Based on the characteristics of women offenders, their pathways to crime, how they differ from male offenders, and how the system responds to them differently, the need for gender-responsive treatment and services seem clear. In addition to requiring basic health care, women offenders often have specific health needs related to their risky sexual and drug-using behavior prior to imprisonment. Women in prison are at risk for infectious diseases including HIV, tuberculosis, sexually transmitted diseases, hepatitis B and C infections. Problems of pregnant inmates include lack of prenatal and postnatal care, inadequate education regarding childbirth and parenting, and little or no preparation for a mother's separation from an infant after delivery. Insufficient individual assessment, limited treatment for pregnant, mentally ill, and violent women offenders, and a lack of appropriate treatment and vocational training limit the effectiveness of the few programs that do exist. These needs for incarcerated women are rarely ever met.